What's up guys, it's Matt Collins-Jones here, also known as D365 Geek, and today we are talking about the Dynamics 365 Wave 1 2020 preview. So the 2020 Wave 1 preview is currently available. I'm recording this in February of 2020 and we are getting prepared for the new releases coming in April of 2020. One of the things Microsoft announced was Modal Dialogs. So a modal dialog is kind of a pop-up on the screen that doesn't take you away from the screen that you are already on. So we've previously had these in the form of dialogues or dialog boxes. You can do these things with things like JavaScript and stuff like that, but this functionality is actually bringing the ability to show whole forms basically to people so that they don't need to use Quick Create or navigate to another form to edit it. So we kind of saw something similar to this with the email enhancement functionality last year that I had a video on. That kind of showed a kind of a pop-up or like an overlay of an email on top of a form. But this is the ability to show forms and show other things on top of where you are. So this functionality is currently available in preview. It's a bit hit and miss about how it's working out of the box at the moment, but what this does allow is this actually allows developers to interact with those calls and present a modal dialog box in front of you. So the big announcement for this is that developers can now access these, access and do these API calls or these, JavaScript calls to actually show you this modal dialog, as opposed to it just being there in the system. However, there are a couple of places where it's currently available, and I wanted to take you through some of those, show you what they look like, and kind of discuss the pros and cons of these. So I'm in Dynamics at the moment, and I'm actually in the Sales Hub. And the Sales Hub is actually where I first noticed this functionality. So if I click on an activity, for instance, this happens. So you'll kind of see in the background, I'm still on my activities pane, but what it has done is it has taken the full phone call screen and shrunk it down. It's made the edges a little bit darker to kind of differentiate, and it's presenting me all the information and the complete ribbon that I would see on a phone call. And I have a couple of options, so I can edit stuff in here. I can add numbers in, etc. I can change stuff. I can save, and then go back. But I have these two buttons up top. So I have this one that allows me to enter full screen. So full screen, again, it kind of takes up the whole window. You'll notice that it gets rid of the navigation, so I can't navigate to a different window from here. I'm actually stuck inside this window until I do something. So either until I close this record or close it from here, or I can or exit full screen mode and take me back into this modal dialog mode. And then if I want to, I can close this down. And I have the same functionality on other things like task. I can open it up and I get all the task stuff and activities and appointments, etc. So I can kind of see these things and I can see the functionality and the ability to use these things has been really useful for people. A lot of the time people are trying to do something and they have to navigate away from a record, and then they lose the data that they're trying to input into the other record. So maybe they've got some details in a task and they want to input that into the notes section of a record, or take out some like details of like an alternate telephone number to call someone and put that into a telephone record. That's where this is actually particularly useful, because you can kind of navigate away but not completely, and it doesn't require you opening multiple tabs and then closing down a tab and then finding the wrong one and finding the right one, all that sort of stuff. So I think this is particularly useful. Now, I said this is a little bit all over the place. So at the moment, in the Sales Hub, in activities, I can do this. If I switch over to my Customer Service Hub, same set of activities, I click task, it just takes me to the full form. So So the announcement for this was actually in the Power Platform update under Power Apps. So it's more about like the functionality around it rather than a specific app. But it does seem like it's a little bit all over the place in terms of where this will be available. I'm kind of hoping it'll be available everywhere, and there'll be a way to configure if it's available on a certain entity. Which is I think is particularly useful when you like things like you want to edit a contact, but you don't want to navigate away from the account that you're in to do the contact. So that is one example of a modal dialog inside of Dynamics. Another one is actually under the case resolution. So I've done a previous video on this about showing the resolve button and the new case customization dialog. So if I click resolve, I get this modal dialog here, and this is slightly different from the usual one. You kind of don't get this save and close button, you don't get the close button, you just get a couple of like regular buttons down here, and this is kind of like a small little form, and this one can actually be customized. So this is a customization dialog, but again, it does the same sort of thing. You know, we are showing that we are graying out the rest of the screen, and we have this pop-up thing that we can then customize and show in here, and I think that's really handy. So that's two forms of customization. If I just go to an account and go to an email for a second, email. This is the third type of modal dialog that I've mentioned previously and I've covered in a previous video, which is the send email modal dialog. So this allows you to kind of reference things. You can again extend this and minimize this and close this and minimize it down to the bottom. It comes down here and you can do some more things and you can open it up again, switch it back here. And this is the third type of modal dialog. So you have kind of these sort of three different options. So you have like the one that covers the main screen, one that covers the middle bit of the screen, and then one that covers this bit of the screen. And again, they're all sort of slightly different. So it's an interesting take that Microsoft are doing. So I think it's good that they're giving the ability to developers to then like call these things and then to create these modal dialogues and to shorten down the screen. And I think there's a lot of great usability and great functionalities to the users. The only thing that is slightly concerning is that firstly there's three different types of these things. So there's the one that I showed you at the start where it takes up the whole screen, there's the one that showed you where it takes up the middle portion of the screen, and there's this one that just seems very like disconnected from everything else. So the unified interface was supposed to unify the whole interface, so everything works in a similar way. So they've done a lot of things around like quick create in terms of like business process flows and how you create new records as opposed to like other ways of doing things. But then they have this modal dialog, which just seems like it's a whole other user interface on top of the user interface. So I can see this being a little bit jarring for a customer because they may be kind of all over the place. I don't disagree that these are good things to have. I think they are, but I think it needs a bit more uniformity, and I think that's what the whole unified interface was supposed to bring to us, is a unified interface of all of these things, and we're kind of getting multiple interfaces inside of here. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick video to kind of show you that and show you those different types of modal dialogues. They are starting to pop up now. You should be able to use them and should be able to reference them in your JavaScript and your API calls to then do certain things, which will be totally cool. But I'd like to see a bit more conformity from Microsoft in terms of this. So that's my 2 cents anyway. But I always like to know what you guys think of these things. So let me know in the comments down below what you think. Do you like these? Do you not like these? Is it different user interface? Is it the same? What are you doing? If you like this video, please like and please share it with your friends. It's always appreciated. If you've not already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.